Hey everyone, this is the entire first series of Mega Construx Pokemon Pokeball and individual character packs. I had considered doing just maybe one of these, like Pikachu, just to show you an example. I thought that would be just too little stuff to put in a single video, so I thought about doing just a few of them, and I figured they're all small, I'll just do the full series. It's just 6 of them. So these are sold individually, just like this. I got these off Toys R Us, or from Toys R Us, for $7, $6.99 US. The price may go down. You may find them cheaper somewhere else. You may find them more expensive somewhere else. I do want to show you kind of just what exactly you get here. So I'm going to just cut this box open for just one of them to let you see the entirety of what you actually get. And this is just a single Pokeball here, which has a little bit of cardboard that went through it. They've got an easy access tab back here. And this does have studs on the top of it, and the rest of them I'll just open offline so that you can, save a little bit of time. They're all going to be exactly the same construction, so this is held together. I've never opened one of these, so I don't know what it's going to be like. Just push the front there, and inside, couple bags with the parts and small instructions. That's nice. There are some studs on the inside of this piece as well. This actually would make a nice display piece in general, just even outside of the Pokemon line, for displaying some figures or small things that you might build, custom things or anything that you're proud of yourself. No anti-studs on the underside of this, but the top does have the holes in there where you can stick peg-sized things through, bars through those 4 center studs. So let me go ahead and open all of these, build all of them, and let you see what they look like. Okay, so these things look way better, more interesting, more collectible, completed than they did in their packaging. The packages really do these things no justice whatsoever. These first 2 actually have clear pieces to allow them to be displayed, since they don't have feet per se to attach to the top of the studded Pokeballs. The next 3 are able to just be connected directly, so those won't fall off easily. The very last one doesn't have any anti-studs on the base of its feet, so it's just kind of sitting there loosely. Here's a close-up look at Magikarp with the printed side pieces. It also has just a slight ability to change the pose of the fins back and forth. You can also move the tail from side to side just a little bit. I'll move that up. There we go. That can actually turn. That's a printed piece that has a paint application on it as well. You can kind of move the mouth up and down just a little bit, so there's a little bit of range there. It kind of makes it look like this way it's, I don't know, maybe a little bit angry, or at least looking up more and preparing to swim up versus having it more horizontal. And you can rotate it around on its clear stand, as you can see going through the back there. It's just connected from one side. It's a very simple build, it's small, but I think that it looks good for what it is. Not sure if it's $7 good though. That's the only major question, which I will come back to after looking at all of these. There's just one open spot on the side here, which is the same on either side, so you can place the clear bar in there into the body from either side, depending upon how you want to pose it. And of course, because of the angle of the bar and the fact that it has that 90-degree angle in it, you can make this angle up and down as well. Zubat has the larger wing pieces and also a little bit of paint application inside of the ears, as well as, of course, the major printed face, or just mouth in this case. This one has the clear rod to attach to things, and that can be attached in several places, and it can also be angled from side to side. These lower bits are flexible pieces, depending upon exactly how your particular product was packaged. You may find those to be bent slightly differently, but you can kind of straighten them out or give them the amount of coil that you want. These wings are actually on ball joints, which gives them a good range of motion because you can bring them up, you can bring them down, but you can also bring them forward. So you can kind of do a flap like this. And if you build them slightly differently, then you can bring the wings back as well. There's not really any good way to have this posed like this, but I think with just a couple more pieces, you could actually just one more piece, if you have some spare parts, you could adapt that to change how it's displayed. This is the largest one, it takes up the most space. even not including these parts down here. Just the wings, give it a lot of presence. Pikachu has the exact same build as the last one that I showed you, just a different face, the more common happy face, and that one's printed up pretty well. Got just a little bit of a little spot on one side, but yeah, this one's also fairly posable because it has the ball joints. So got a ball joint in the head to allow it to be turned, allow it to be angled from side to side. Ball joints for the shoulders. No elbows in this, but you can move the hands around, the arms around. You've got also joints in the legs, so you can rotate it like that. Yeah, you can definitely get some good looking poses out of this one. And there's a ball joint for the tail as well, so that can be posed around in different ways and can also be rotated from side to side. A little bit of print on the back of this one as well, with just that single part. And I'm glad that the ears are painted around, the black bits of the ears are painted around the backs as well as the fronts. They could have just done that from one side and been like, hey, that's what our machines will do, but they actually put them in for a full rotation around. You see just a little bit of the spray comes off on the back, so it's not a completely crisp angle and an edge to that line between the black and the yellow, but at least they did get it all the way around. It looks a little bit better on the front though. Eevee does not look as good to me personally as I thought it was going to and as I hoped it was going to. Everything was going pretty well during the build at first, but once I put the head on, it just didn't feel like the neck was in the right position and has the right proportions to me. You may disagree with me on that, but I feel like there's just something a little bit awkward about this, just in the position of the head and part of the neck that's exposed. Maybe it's just the fact that you've got that skinny part of the neck that's exposed there, so you don't have the fur around that. Maybe that's what's throwing me off here. Other than that though, I think this is good. The head is good. It's shaped well, it's printed nicely. You've got the ears that can be moved in slightly different angles. The head is on a ball joint, so you are able to get a good amount of expressiveness out of that. That is definitely a good thing about this position that has the head up as high as it is. Each of the legs, as you can see, is on a ball joint, so those can be posed up differently, and the tail is also on a ball joint, so that can be moved around. The tail is also printed all the way around at its tip, so that looks pretty good. A good use of that piece, which is used for a number of different things, but a good shape, and I think it's pretty perfect. And I appreciate the use of the slanted tile piece on the front there in the light yellow color. Most of this I think is pretty good, but I just don't like the neck. Machop here has basically just a full humanoid skeletal build and has the most articulation of any of these characters. It's also the tallest ground-based character. I like this one quite a lot. It actually uses two printed pieces for the head. So there's the main face part, and then there's a piece behind that. It gets the little spikes on there. And this one does have knees and elbows that are articulated on ball joints. So you could pose this in all sorts of different ways. Plus it has the anti-studs on the bases of the feet, so you can attach that with just one single foot as done here, and then you can get any kind of pose out of it. All you need is a studded base of some sort, and it'll do just about anything. Little prints for the hands there to show the separation between some fingers on that. I thought that was actually going to be molded in from looking at the pictures, but it's just printed, and I think it looks fine. The build of this one also went together nicely. It was enjoyable to put together. It's a very, very light gray color. It's not white. It's almost off-white, but I like it. Maybe the angle of the tail is a little bit sharp there, but all told, this one is pretty satisfying. This one's nice to have. I hope that they'll do more like this, that have this level of articulation. It's nice to be able to pose them up so many different ways. Speaking of which, here's Abra, who does not use the same shape of headpiece as some of the ones that you've just seen. This one actually has more of a point towards the nose, so just a different overall form. And this one has a lot of ball joints in it. Plus, it has the articulatable toes there. You can just kind of turn these from side to side. You see that this is not attached right now because, like I said earlier on, There are no anti-stud surfaces on the base of this anywhere, so just the default pose that they suggest just has it sitting down. The tail can be turned from side to side, but let me go ahead and stand this up. Of course, the default sitting pose for Abra is absolutely accurate, but just wanted to show you what this would look like if it actually woke up. Still with the sleepy eyes though. Definitely could have gone for a larger head on this one, I think. They were limited by the size of kind of the system that they have for these figures, but maybe to make that work a little bit better, a smaller body would have been appropriate. Also, the shoulders are looking a little bit skinny for what they are, for this character. The body is also looking maybe a little bit skinny, but not so much. I just feel like it could have been just tighter. The whole thing should have been possibly smaller than it is. It's not bad, and it definitely looks best in its sitting, sleeping pose. And there are a lot of poses that you can get out of this, but it's another one where I think that it's just not quite right. I don't know exactly what could have been done to make it better, given the constraints of the system and the type of parts that they're using. But yeah, some good stuff, some meh. Now finally, to the question of can you collect them all, I am happy to be able to answer yes. You can collect each and every one of these characters securely inside of their respective Pokeballs. Closes up. I had a little bit of a challenge to find the exact pose that works for Zubat, but it does work. It's going to fold up the little flexible bits a little bit, but it does close up completely. So all of these will fit in there. You may have to take a stand off for the ones that have their stands. Yeah, Eevee had to fold the ears down, no big deal. Machop had to be sat down a little bit, no big deal. And Abra is still sleeping, so no big deal there. That works. That was important to me. And then you can stack them all to boot. So the general takeaway from me is that these things are much nicer than they appear in their packages on shelves in stores and such, or just looking at the packages in pictures. Ideally, I would love to have been able to get these for $5 a piece. I think that would have been a great price, maybe a little bit unrealistic these days, but $6 I think would have been reasonable, because then it'd be like $5.99 and that would feel right. $6.99 feels like just a little bit of a stretch because they can, but that's how business works, and that's how people get paid their salaries, which allows them to buy food and internet access for their kids, and on and on and on. It's not a completely unreasonable price. I just wish it was a little bit lower. So that's it for my thoughts on these. Thank you for watching, and hey, in the comments, if you would, please let me know if there are any other sets from this initial wave of Mega Construx Pokemon releases that you would specifically like to see me review. I've done a few of the normal boxed sets, plus this full series of the Pokeball individual character ones now, but if there's anything that I haven't gotten to that you're specifically interested in, just let me know. Thank you for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed this and that it gave you some useful information about these products. I've got a lot more work to do, so I'll be talking to you again very soon.